All right, good morning. You can all be seated. First today, I would like to recognize the presence of President Dr. Richard G. Olds, Provost Joseph Childers, Vice Provost International Development, Dr. Callum McPherson, Vice Provost for Institutional Advancement, Mr. Brendan LeGrenade, Vice Provost for the School of Veterinary Medicine Advancement, Dr. Timothy Ogilvie, our keynote speaker, Dr. Kent Hoblet, the Dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Neil Olson, Dean of Students, Dr. C.V. Rao, Dean of Basic Sciences for the School of Medicine, Dr. Marios Lucas, the Dean of Admissions, Mr. Bob Ryan, the Interim Dean of School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Andrea Easter Pilcher, faculty, staff, specially invited guests, parents, students, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Minister for Educational, the Honorable Simon Steele. I would also like to wish to acknowledge all SGUSVM graduates and faculty present and invite them to stand. Thanks. Good morning. My name is Dr. Emily Turitto, and I'm a proud SGUSVM alumni and the current faculty member in the Small Animal Medicine and Surgery Department. I'm originally from North Dakota, born and raised. I attended the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, which is the coldest campus in the US. After surviving my 4 years there, I decided I never wanted to be cold again, so SGU obviously fell into a cool choice for me to attend. Literally not that long ago, I was in your shoes, sitting in the same seat, asking myself what I had gotten myself into. Stepping off the plane can be kind of a scary experience when you get in Grenada for the first time, but I was very excited to start my veterinary career. I knew, like most of you, that I wanted to be a vet since I was about 3 years old, but reality didn't sink in until I got off the plane here. Today, you're not only receiving your white coat, but you're also taking your veterinary oath, which is a very big commitment. At the time I took mine, I thought it was exciting, but I didn't really understand the responsibility and the accountability I would have for animal welfare for the rest of my life. During my 4th year clinical rotations that I completed at LSU, this veterinary oath was tested. My best friend, who happens to be here today, Dr. Solis in the crowd over there, my best friend and I, we went abroad to fulfill one of our clinical externships. We knew going in that there would be major cultural differences and challenges. After arriving at the shelter, there were obvious concerns for the welfare of the animals. We were put into situations that had us questioning if we were doing more bad than good for the animals. And discussing it with our mentors at both LSU and SGU, we decided we were making more of a problem than helping. So we went back to our oath that we took on our white coat ceremony day and said we fell back on that to help decide what we needed to do. We ended up leaving and finding a different externship to fulfill that we could fall back on and feel good about helping make a difference. So please today, take your commitment seriously, because at one point you will have to question your veterinary oath to see if you're making a difference. When you have the best interests of the animals at heart, you can be unstoppable. You will be given the training, support, and knowledge to bring animals into the world, prevent diseases not only for animals but for humans, cure cancer, save lives, and extend the life of man's best friend. I've been rewarded just on this island by rescuing my pack of dogs, Cholula, like you can see in your handout. She was my first Grenadian pot hound I rescued from the streets. Next was Nelson. He was the next dog I got. He was an end-stage heartworm failure, and we were able to help cure him for a couple of years. Karani James, she was the 3rd dog we took, who my parents have. She's a 3-legged pot hound who we had to amputate a leg on. And the 4th one was Nacho Mama, who went through junior surgery lab where I work now, and she was taken off the streets and saved from starvation. So you're gonna have multiple awesome things happen just on this island before you're even out in the real world. Here at SGU, you're given an opportunities that other vet students nowhere else in the world will be able to experience. You're not just a face in the classroom here. We're a smaller veterinary community, so you're gonna be treated more like a family. People are going to know you and know what's going on in your life, which is very helpful. This is where I met my friends, my colleagues, and colleagues. You need to realize that you are all in the same boat. We all left our families, our friends, and everything we know behind. Pause hopefully helped you develop trust in each other, as it did for my class. The more you work together, the easier your next 3 years will be, and the beach helps too. St. George's University School of Veterinary Medicine, the SGUSVM, aims to offer exceptional opportunities for veterinary education and graduate studies for students from an international community that are comparable to the finest veterinary programs available in the U.S. and elsewhere, to provide professional services to Grenada and other Caribbean locations, and to establish a reputation for research and educational excellence in areas of unique opportunity. The St. George's University School of Veterinary Medicine accepted its first class in August 1999 and has accepted 2 more classes since then, each year. SGUSVM conducts its first through 6th terms in Grenada on the True Blue campus where we are now, and the 4th year clinical training at over 29 affiliated veterinary universities in the US, Canada, Ireland, or Australia. 2005 marked another milestone for the SVM when the Society of Phi Zeta, the National Veterinary Honor Society, established for veterinary faculty and students, installed its first international chapter at St. George's University. To date, SGUSVM has over 1,000 graduates from all over the world, including USA, UK, Canada, Sweden, Ireland, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Barbados, Bermuda, Jamaica, Venezuela, Russia, Mexico, Colombia, Japan, Lesotho, Portugal, Germany, Botswana, Pakistan, South Africa, and Israel. So we have a lot of people from all over. And they're licensed to practice in 41 states in the US, Canada, UK, and Grenada. In September 2011, while I was a student, the American Veterinary Medical Association Council on Education, the AVMA, announced its full accreditation of the university's Doctors of Veterinary Medicine program for 7 years. In October 2016, the American Hospital Association, AHA, gave its stamp of approval accrediting the School of Veterinary Medicine's small animal clinic for 2 years, making it the second practice outside the US and Canada to earn this distinction. SVM continues to strive towards establishing leading-edge veterinary knowledge and technology, expanding its curriculum, and adding new state-of-the-art laboratories and classrooms. You picked a good place to go to. Right now, I take great pleasure in introducing Dr. Joseph F. Childers, the Provost of St. George's University.
Good morning, everyone, and a warm Grenadian welcome to you all. And it is warm this morning. I especially want to extend my welcome and thanks to our staff, our administrators, and our faculty who are here today to participate in this ceremony. It's a wonderful ceremony. This is my second SVM white coat ceremony, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I also want to thank Dr. Turitto and Dr. Hoblet for joining us today and giving us of their time. Now, I've been making a lot of confessions this week, so this should be no exception. I'm not a vet. And I can judge by your response that you probably think that's a good thing. I'm not even a scientist. But I am a humanist, and I have a PhD in English literature and philosophy, and so that gives me license to sit around and think deep thoughts, kind of like the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz. So I was actually reflecting on the relationship historically, mythologically, throughout cultures between humans and animals. And I began to think about the place that animals have in so many creation stories and in cultures around the world. And I began to think of their importance in Native American culture. I began to think of their importance in Eastern cultures. I began to think about the sort of exalted place they had in ancient Egyptian culture. And then, of course, I began to think about the place they have in the culture that I'm most familiar with, which is sort of Judeo-Christian Islamic culture. And I began to think about one of the first first responsibilities that man, and I mean literally man, had, and that was to name all the animals. And the animals were placed on the earth, according to this story, as comfort for and companionship to and help for man. And so Adam was charged with naming all of the birds of the air and the fish of the sea and the beasts of the field, which kind of begs the question of how he came up with things like armadillo. And we all know, and if you don't know now, you will soon learn that tattoo is a much better name for an armadillo. This sort of pushed Adam's skill set a bit, and so woman was created. And as we can see, they took that responsibility very seriously, and now about 80% of our vets entering are women. And we appreciate that very much. But this speaks to the symbolism of the white coat and what this means for you going forward. For so many of you, you're beginning the sort of final portion of your journey to a lifelong dream of being a veterinarian. And I think this is an extremely important moment for you to sort of reflect on what that means and what it is meant for you and what it's going to mean going forward. Part of what you will be doing is upholding a kind of ethical standard that in some ways is extraordinarily important to all of us, because what you're called upon is to help and serve those who cannot speak for themselves, who cannot communicate their needs. You have to develop and play upon and employ a kind of empathy that can be a challenge. And I really commend all of you for taking up that challenge. Before I introduce our president and before I sit down, I want to tell you just a little story. It's really very little. I'm an animal lover. I particularly like dogs. And we were looking for a new vet for our elderly pothound. And we were interviewing a new vet, and we were saying, we're at SGU. And our vet said, "Oh, I love SGU vets, people who are trained at SGU, because every one of them I've ever met really knows how to communicate, really knows how to deal with the animals, but also communicate with the owners." And that's when we decided we were going to go with this vet, because they recognized the importance of that, and the importance of that to us and also to the animal. So that's something that I commend the school for, and it's something that I hope all of you will take seriously going forward. It is very much part of what you're doing when you don that white coat. So I've said enough. I welcome you all. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that you have the opportunities to succeed. Please make use of those while you're here. And now it's my really great pleasure to introduce Dr. G. Richard Olds, President of SGU.
Well, good morning. Well, this is a very special day. And let me add to the welcome to the class of 2021. We're very proud of you. Also, as a parent myself, I know how proud those of you in the wings are to see your sons and daughters here today, starting on a wonderful professional training experience here at St. George's. This, I suppose, is a little bit of a true confession, I guess it sounds like. Joe started the process. I guess my confession is I'm not a veterinarian either. So now I am a physician, and I will say that I spent most of my professional career as a tropical disease specialist. Now that has some relevance to your field, because it turns out the disease I study is actually principally a disease of animals. It's a disease called schistosomiasis, and man only actually becomes accidentally infected with that particular parasite as a process of sharing the same space with cattle, largely in Asia. But it has given me an opportunity to work and actually teach in veterinary schools, and I'm actually proud to say that I'm both a faculty member in both the medical school and the veterinary school. And the similarity between the two fields is immense. In fact, there's a great synergy from having a school of veterinary medicine, a school of human medicine, a nursing school, a Master of Public Health degree, because all of these professional disciplines interact very closely, not only today, but I would predict will interact far more closely in the future. Virtually all the emerging pathogens of humans, by the way, were historically animal diseases that made the species jump to our particular species, and it might be wise for us to work together to limit that development over time. Let me tell you some other things I really love about the vet school. Many of those have already been commented, but in my brief 2 years as president, I will tell you, you have hands down the best orientation of any of the schools on our campus. And I keep telling the med school this, that they should just do your orientation and they would be markedly improved, but they haven't taken me up on that yet. Now, I wanted to say a little bit about this ceremony. Now, some of you in the audience may wonder, now wait a minute, a white coat, isn't that what the physicians wear? You know, what is this white coat thing? Where are we a bunch of Johnny-come-latelys here? It is true that the white coat ceremony, sort of as a official start of the academic year, started actually at Columbia University and their physicians and surgeons, although it has been adopted by virtually all the healthcare professionals in the last several decades. But the roots of the white coat go back farther. And if we understand the roots of the white coat, you'll see that they're equally relevant really to all the health professionals. If we went back to the 19th century and we asked actually what did physicians wear, they didn't wear white coats. They actually wore frocked coats, usually in black. And you will recall that the surgeons are actually descendants from barbers, something I often remind them of. But interestingly, if we go back and look at veterinarians in the 19th century, actually probably the most common garb of a veterinarian was a military uniform. In fact, animals were so important to the military in the 19th century that veterinarians held a very important part in virtually all the armies of the world, certainly in the 19th and even the beginning of the 20th century. But there were two influences that took place very close to the beginning of the 20th century that ultimately developed the white coat. The first is really Louis Pasteur in the 1800s, who was the first to point out the microbiologic basis of health and disease in both humans, animals, and many living things. And the white coat, or white specifically, was in direct reference to sterile practices, and the wearing of white and the using of white was evidence that we conducted our activities in a sterile practice. The second one is really an influence that took place at the beginning of the 20th century, and that is the application of the scientific method to the study of all health-related diseases. If you will, your white coat is also the lab coat of scientific investigation, pointing out the close proximity of our advances in science and how that has impacted our advances in all the healthcare fields. So veterinarians, nurses, physician assistants, all of us in the healthcare field are equally entitled to wear the white coat, and that's why I'm proud to say that the white coat is universally now celebrated in virtually all the health professions. So it is my pleasure again to welcome you again to this ceremony, and it's also my pleasure to introduce our new Dean of the Veterinary School, Dr. Neil Olson. Go ahead, let's give a applause now. Dr. Olson was born and raised in a small town in Minnesota. He ultimately received his veterinary degree from that great state's veterinary school. He served for many years as a faculty member and also ultimately associate dean at North Carolina State. And for over a decade, he has been the dean at the veterinary school at the University of Missouri. And we were very pleased to attract him here to St. George's University as our incoming dean. I welcome to the stage Neil Olson.
Thank you, Dr. Olds. I realize I have something in common with Emily from North Dakota. She wanted to get out of the cold. I rarely go back to Minnesota. I never do in the wintertime. And so many things attracted me here, but I did want to get out of the cold. I'll admit that. It is also my pleasure and distinct privilege to welcome you to St. George's University School of Veterinary Medicine White Coat Ceremony. And to our students, today is the beginning of the road in realizing your dream of becoming a veterinarian. I want to thank you all for coming and being a part of this wonderful event. I want to extend a special thank you to all the parents and family members who have nurtured and supported this class. Would all the members, the relatives and parents, please stand and be recognized. This white coat ceremony is a symbolic representation of your entry into our profession and a demonstration of your commitment to upholding the code of professional conduct expected of medical professionals. At the St. George's University School of Veterinary Medicine, there is no doubt in our mind as to what our job number one is, and that is to educate veterinary students. This reminds me of a Chinese proverb. If you are planning for a year, sow rice. If you are planning for a decade, plant trees. And if you are planning for a lifetime, educate people. Our primary role is to prepare students to not only become licensed veterinarians, but also to become leaders in the many facets of career opportunities that our dynamic profession offers. Allow me to elaborate on a few examples. In addition to expanding the traditional role we serve as practitioners, there is a growing awareness regarding the critical role veterinarians play in the public arena, oftentimes referred to as public practice. Public practice includes public health, food safety, biomedical research, laboratory animal medicine, comparative medicine, and academic veterinary medicine. It turns out that of all the employed veterinarians currently in North America, at least 15% are employed in this private practice arena, and in addition in the industry arena. A recently published report by the United States National Research Council depicts that the greatest growth opportunity for employment will be in the public and industry sectors of our profession. I love saying, it is truly an exciting time to be a veterinarian. It is truly an exciting time to embrace change within our profession. To the class of 2021, there are many aspects of becoming a veterinarian you will soon encounter that go beyond the diagnosis and treatment of animal maladies and preventative care. For example, in addition to working with veterinary faculty, you will, especially during your 4th year of clinical training, interface with clients, referring veterinarians, donors, house officers in the form of residents and interns, and hospital staff, all of whom play an important role in the functionality of practicing veterinary medicine. I would argue that the veterinary profession is very much more a people-oriented profession. Your success as a veterinarian will have more to do with your interactions with people than any other single variable. I think of this phenomenon as being reminiscent of a living, breathing, vibrant, functional organism. Actions by all individuals, be they desirable or undesirable, have a rippling effect throughout the profession and other health professions. So, interestingly, just like life, everything is interconnected. In closing, class of 2021, I look forward to greeting you on your graduation day in New York. I look forward to working with you as future alumni as we navigate through the challenges and opportunities that surface in our changing environment. And finally, I will leave you with a quote from Howard Schultz, former president and CEO of Starbucks. If you don't love what you are doing with unbridled passion and enthusiasm, you're not going to succeed when you hit obstacles. End of quote. Yes, you will surely hit obstacles, but I am confident that your passion and enthusiasm for our profession will see you through. The experiences that you will have at St. George's University will serve to enrich you personally and professionally. You have all worked diligently to become veterinary medical students, and I wish you every success as you strive to excel in your pursuit of the knowledge, skills, and attributes necessary for your career. Best of luck to you, and I heartily congratulate you on reaching this milestone. Now it is my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce our keynote speaker today, Dr. Kent Hoblet. Dr. Hoblet earned his Doctor of Veterinary Medicine and Master of Science in Veterinary Preventive Medicine at The Ohio State University, and he is a diplomat in the American College of Veterinary Preventive Medicine. He has been teaching students in the classroom, laboratories, and on the clinic floor since 1983. He has also taught in a variety of international venues, including Egypt, Thailand, and Venezuela. Dr. Hoblet is past president of the Association of American Veterinary Medical Colleges. He is a member of the American Association of Bovine Practitioners, the American Veterinary Medical Association, and the Mississippi Veterinary Medical Association. Since 2006, Dr. Hoblet has served as professor and dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine at Mississippi State University. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Hoblet with a thunderous round of applause.
Well, thank you, Dean Olson, for the introduction, and also I want to thank the administration here at St. George's for the opportunity to visit the School of Veterinary Medicine. I consider it a true honor to be participating in today's coding ceremony. First, the class of 2021 has been congratulated, but I want to congratulate you again as new students, and also your family and friends that are here today. Today is a great day that signifies the beginning of what I can promise you will be a busy and exciting 4 years. Entering veterinary school is an important first step in committing to lifelong learning and service in the wonderful profession that is veterinary medicine, a profession that is much more broad and encompassing than many, perhaps even some of you here today, realize. So what is a profession? A profession is a vocation focused on specialized education. A profession is more than a job. A profession has an established code of ethics, and a profession is committed to protecting the interests of the public, things you've heard about already. Society permits professions to be fairly autonomous in several areas, such as defining the scope of their work and about selecting who may enter the particular profession. In short, there are many benefits and a certain status associated with being in a profession. But, and I want to emphasize this, but with these privileges come heavy responsibilities back to society. And to me, this adds special significance to today's coding ceremony. The acceptance by you as students that with privilege comes responsibility. Let me repeat that. With privilege comes responsibility. So has the veterinary medical profession changed? I'm going to suggest that although many of the technical aspects of veterinary medicine have changed dramatically, the core principles, such as having and adhering to an established code of ethics and protecting the interests of the public, remain the same. Our core values remain the same. Now, certainly since my days in veterinary school in the late 1960s and 1970s, the veterinary medical profession has advanced very far scientifically. Technology has definitely changed the way both veterinary and human medicine are taught and practiced. I occasionally give people tours of our college at Mississippi State. When we get to our small animal veterinary teaching hospital, they're amazed. And it's not uncommon for someone to say, "Hey, this looks like a real hospital." At that point, I remind them they are in a real hospital, and that I can truthfully state that just about whatever procedure they can have, as a human can have done at the University of Mississippi Medical Center in Jackson, we can also perform on their pets. So students of the class of 2021, during your careers, changes in the science of veterinary medicine are going to come even more rapidly. Tremendous population growth will take place, and by 2050, when you've been out of school less than 30 years, global population is projected to have grown by more than 30% to over 9.5 billion people. During this same period, the population of the United States will increase by more than 100 million people to around 430 million. To just meet the demands associated with population growth, changes in the technical aspects of veterinary medicine are going to have to continue at unprecedented speed during your careers. I want to mention briefly, as examples, 3 areas of veterinary medicine. Areas which you will all study while you're here at St. George's, and areas that many of you will enter upon graduation. Namely, I want to talk a little bit about companion animal medicine, food supply veterinary medicine, and emerging zoonotic diseases. All areas where huge changes have occurred, where they will continue to occur, and these changes will have impact on your careers. One of the most profound changes in veterinary medicine that has occurred during my career is the role of pets as becoming members of the family, which you've heard about. My wife and I are now empty nesters, and these 2 cats and the Pembroke Welsh Corgi now share our home. As I present this, I think if you would ask the cats, they probably consider that my wife and I are sharing their home. I grew up on a dairy farm in western Ohio in the 1950s and 60s. Like many farm families of that era, we had a dog. However, when it came to pets, I think my parents, looking back, were pretty advanced, because our family dog, unlike that of many of my friends, lived in the house with us. So pets, among most groups in our society, have been elevated to family members, and I am convinced that this is a really good thing for society and for the lives of humans in general. I often think about how many problems might be solved if more people could experience the unconditional love of a dog. Folks, the human-animal bond is real. Now, urbanization and affluence in the developed world have increased the demand for companion animal care. A big issue now is that many people cannot afford to pay for what we have to offer. For example, in April, our 5-year-old Welsh Corgi tore her ACL. The best surgical repair at our hospital, a TPLO, cost more than $3,500. The median household income in the United States is $55,000. How does a family with a median household income of $55,000 afford a $3,500 plus surgery on their dog, even though they love the dog? By the way, we repaired the dog's knee, so. Helping to figure out how to provide access to care across the economic spectrum and with the changing demographics, and at the same time have a plan that is also fair to the veterinarian, is a challenge that your generation of veterinarians is going to have to help solve. Frankly, if we really believe that companion animals are important to human well-being, this is an issue that we're going to have to address. Because of the increase in world population, together with rising standards in countries such as China, the demand for foods of animal origin will increase dramatically in the next 20 years. Worldwide, and it doesn't matter which species you consider or where they are in the world, after accounting for the cost of feed, the #1 risk for profitable production of food-producing animals is disease. So just enabling the extra production of food is going to be a challenge. There is, however, another aspect of food security, and that is getting the right nutrients to the right people at the right time. This need is especially critical for expecting mothers during pregnancy and children during their first 2 years of life, the first 1,000 days. Nutrient deficiencies, including micronutrients that occur during the first 1,000 days, results in stunting of children, both physically and mentally. Stunting that can never be reversed. What a tragic loss this is. It turns out that key critical nutrients are most optimally available in foods of animal origin, such as milk, eggs, meat, and fish. Your generation of veterinarians must rise to the challenge of ensuring food security for the increased numbers of people inhabiting our planet. Now, during the past 35 years, there's been an increasing emergence of zoonotic diseases, as the President mentioned, or those infectious diseases that can be transmitted from animals to people. Of the nearly 1,500 infectious diseases presently recognized in humans, 60% are caused by multi-host pathogens. Approximately 75% of emerging human infectious diseases over the past 3 decades have been zoonotic. Examples include AIDS, SARS, the Hendra virus, and many more. Again, there will be plenty for your generation of veterinarians to do to help to solve these health issues. As a side note, all veterinarians, while you're in veterinary school, you're going to be educating and understanding the scientific method and how to interpret research results. But some of you need to become faculty researchers, like these young faculty shown here, who are working on avian influenza, Staphylococcus aureus, and tick-borne diseases. Over the past 20 years, there has been a realization that attaining food security to prevent famine and the control of emerging zoonotic diseases to prevent pandemics may be addressed most effectively by joint efforts in animal and human health, coupled with intelligent environmental management. This has led to a movement known as One Health. One Health seeks to understand the convergence of human, animal, and environmental health to the betterment of all three. Many have treated this idea of One Health as a new idea. In reality, the recognized relationship between human and animal health goes back many years to Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine, in 4 BC, the 4th century BC. The founder of my own alma mater, the Ohio State University College of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Norton Townsend, was both a physician and an agriculturalist, and he indicated in 1875, while he was lobbying for a veterinary college, that the interrelationship between human and animal health validates the concept of one medicine. In fact, a number of the original colleges of veterinary medicine in North America were founded by physicians. Therefore, it may be more appropriate to state that One Health is not a new concept, but fortunately a rediscovered one. It's very intriguing to me that your own School of Veterinary Medicine was founded and operates in association with a School of Human Medicine and other health sciences schools. The evidence is abundantly clear that there will be plenty of work and multiple challenges to address and help solve for veterinarians graduating in the next several decades. The world desperately needs and will benefit from the knowledge and skills of highly trained doctors of veterinary medicine, those educated at one of the 49 colleges and schools of veterinary medicine accredited by the world's gold standard, the Council on Education, such as your own St. George's School of Veterinary Medicine. Now that's our mascot. We're bulldogs. Those of you who are entering the School of Veterinary Medicine today have gone through a rigorous preparation process. You all have the academic ability to be successful. I want to conclude my remarks today by sharing a few observations of my own, observations that are not meant to be exclusive to other observations, but those that I've founded based on more than 30 years of teaching veterinary medical students. I ask that you consider adopting these suggestions, as I believe they will help you avoid some common pitfalls and help you become even more successful in veterinary school. The first is to keep a positive attitude. It's contagious, so in doing you will also be helping your classmates. My observation is that there is sometimes a tendency among veterinary students, after sitting through countless days of lecture and studying for multiple examinations, to develop some attitude problems. I urge you to avoid that temptation. Take heart to the statement of General Colin Powell that perpetual optimism is a force multiplier. For those of you headed to private practice, this is also an important characteristic to carry over into practice. People want their veterinarian to be optimistic, to have a positive attitude. A positive attitude is a practice builder, so you might as well start now. The second is to make every day count. You now have less than 4 years to develop the base for what for many of you will be a 40-year career. When I was on the faculty at Ohio State, we had a dean who used to tell the faculty, quote, "Make every minute of classroom time count. It's precious time." I now tell that to our faculty, and because learning is a shared responsibility between students and faculty, I now tell it to you as students. Of course, making every day count also means planning for some time to relax and to take a break occasionally. Grades. You're all used to getting pretty good grades, and we used to have that continue. The point here is to keep the bigger picture in mind. Don't get bogged down into arguing for a few points here or there on an exam or a quiz. In 12 years of private practice, I cannot recall having a client ever ask me whether I received an A or a B in anatomy, or for that matter, any other subject. For perspective, I like to remember the title of this book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and It's All Small Stuff. Now that isn't quite true. There are some things that aren't small stuff, right? But remember the principle. People count. In terms of numbers, this is still a really small profession. Veterinary school is a bonding time because of all the experiences you will share during the next several weeks or several years. You already heard about the situation of the situation in another country. Treat your classmates and faculty with respect. Friends that you make while you're in veterinary school will be your friends for life. Keep an open mind. Now, some of you may know exactly what you're going to do in your career, and you may end up doing that, and that's fine. But having watched many, many students, my advice is you may be surprised what life throws your way. One of the really great attributes of our profession is its breadth. So use some time during the next 4 years to test the waters, stretch yourself a bit, and explore. Veterinary students end up doing some remarkable things in their career. As an example, and I could use many examples, but this is the one I'm going to share with you today. One of the most unusual careers of students that I have taught is that of Dr. Rick Linehan. After some time in private practice, Dr. Linehan did a zoo residency. He then joined NASA and became a space shuttle astronaut. He wasn't just along for the ride, he was an astronaut with 4 shuttle flights totaling 59 days and 6 EVAs. What's an EVA? That's a spacewalk when you're out there away from the space vehicle. And this is what I want you to think about. He did all of this with a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree. So keep your options open. We may have some astronauts here. Now remember, you have already made the big decision. That being said, I've seen students really get upset worrying that with all the career possibilities, they say, what am I going to do? Do I take an elective in surgery or do I take one in medicine? And they get themselves all worked up over this. Nearly every year, I end up telling some students to relax. They have already made the big decision by selecting a career in veterinary medicine, and that all the rest of their career decisions are smaller. They just need to relax a bit and let things play out. I want to conclude my remarks by again congratulating you on your entry into the veterinary profession. Make the most of your time here. Opportunities in veterinary medicine today are greater than at any time during my career. And in fact, I'm a bit envious of you. The world has and will continue to have many problems. Veterinary medicine cannot solve all the world's problems, but we can contribute greatly to solving some of them. Remember, the world needs you as a highly qualified doctor of veterinary medicine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hoblet, for those inspiring words. Based on the recommendation made by the AVMA, SGUSVM introduced a professionalism course, PAUSE, for the incoming class, and its first component, a 2-day workshop, was recently completed. We have a slideshow about that workshop later on. It'll be good. It is befitting that after completing this professionalism workshop, you are officially welcomed to the Veterinary Society. The white coat serves as a symbol of professionalism and to welcome each of you into the veterinary medical profession. SGU will now present you with a white coat. It symbolizes your entry to the profession and your commitment to uphold the duties of the profession. Robing at the white coat ceremony is considered to be an honor, and it must be pre-approved. To assist the keynote speaker, Dr. Kent Hoblet, and myself with robing, I now invite to the stage Dr. Timothy Ogilvie, the Vice Provost of SVM Advancement, Dr. Neil Olson, Dean for the School of Veterinary Medicine, yeah, you guys can come up, Dr. Mohammed Bayet, the Associate Dean of Students for the SVM, Dr. Adria Rodriguez, the Assistant Dean of Students, and Dr. Chad Tyndall, the Director of the SVM Office of Career Guidance. Joining the stage later will be Dr. David Mordaski, a mixed animal practitioner and owner of the Stafford Veterinary Center and Willington Veterinary Center in Connecticut, who will robe his son, Andrew. Also joining the stage later will be Dr. Megan Conley, SVM alumnus from the class of 2012, who will robe her mentee, Nyla Bent. In recognition of our international enrollment, Dr. Chrissy Ann Harrylal, the instructor for the Anatomy, Physiology, and Pharmacology Department, will call each student by name and state their country of birth. Please hold your applause until the students have been robed. For safety, we ask the audience to kindly remain seated and not interrupt the ceremony by taking pictures in the forward section of the hall. Thank you for your cooperation.
So we have Kelly Labari, and she is from Massachusetts. We have Ariel Berman, and she is from California. We have Andrea Franco, and she is from Maryland. We have Megan Jeffcoat, and she is from South Carolina. And we also have Tiffany McElroy, and she is from Washington. Nathan Strauss from the USA, California. Kira Veronado, and she is from Louisiana. All right. We have next Gorjaran Emily, and she is from New Jersey. We have Caitlin Samborski, and she is from Ohio, USA. We have Kaylin Papanfus, and she is from Michigan, USA. And we also have Kirsten Campbell, and she is from USA, Texas. Lauren Bassett, and she is from Texas. Maria Barandica, and she is from New York. And we also have John Heine, and he is from Ohio. We have next Scott Pless, and he is from North Carolina. We have Alexa Christ, and she is from Pennsylvania. We have Amanda Dickerson, and she is from Virginia. We also have Erin Padone from Connecticut. We have Kaylin Pashon from New Jersey. We have Morgan Meglansky, and she is from Florida. And we have Alexis Counts-Hooker, and she is from California. We have Elizabeth Bohannon, and she's from Florida. We have Deborah Murphy, and she is also from Florida. We have Monica Sweeney, and she is from Alabama. Marianne Rees, and she is from Pennsylvania. Jacqueline Taruro, and she is from New York. We have Tori Cleaver, and she's from Florida. We also have Melissa McNabb, and she is from Maryland. We have Mary Smith from South Carolina. We have Samantha Tedeschi, and she is from New Jersey. We have Catherine Wadman, and she is from Massachusetts. And we have Erin Aller, and she is from New York. Alexis Garbarino, and she's also from New York. We have Lisa Dreyer, and she is from Michigan. And we have Carlina Bortorsky, and she is from Connecticut. Round of applause. Carrie Scholes from Florida. We have Kelsey Atamanchuk from Alberta, Canada. Heather Warburton from Florida. Teresa Monroe from Illinois. Genesis Felix from Pennsylvania. Okay, so we also have Nayla being robed by one of her, Megan Colony. Okay. We have Rebecca Riston from Massachusetts. We have Giuliano Barranco from New York. Catherine Jones from Maine. Emily Smith from North Carolina. Gina Giacomelli from California. Ashley Tan from California. Samantha Kaus from California. Stacy Kim from California. Lindsay Anderson from Massachusetts. Marissa Turner from Rhode Island. Marissa Turner from Rhode Island. Sophia Sylvan from Connecticut. Danielle York from New York. Catherine Murray from California. Gabriela Sanchez from Florida. Lauren Keebler from Maryland. Rebecca Desmarto from Illinois. Jennifer Davis, Arizona. Andrew Medorsky from Connecticut. Manore Katara from New Jersey. Brian Colley from New Jersey. Kayla Buchanan from Colorado. Sloan Hoffman from Florida. Ashley Shinshock from Louisiana. Anthony Fugis from New Jersey. Samantha Guzman from California. Alicia Royer from Pennsylvania. John Pickard from New Mexico. Margie Ganza from California. Paige Wisniewski from Florida. Sarah D. Argenio from Montreal, Canada. Caitlin Mahoney from Georgia. Chloe Coolan from California. Zachary Lamar, Texas. Brittany Frizzle from New York. Colin McCarthy from Florida. Brianna Elliott, Indiana. Jocelyn Becker, Minnesota. Colin Hummel from Texas. Catherine Peters, Indiana. Michael Cali, New Jersey. Nadia Awar from Arkansas. Christopher Carter from California. Samuel de Villa Lacasse from Canada. Carly Jones, California. Laura Graham from United Kingdom. Kathleen Kyler, Maryland. Taylor Canlon, Florida. Anastasia Spanos, New York. Danielle Riano, New York. Sybil Cato, New York. Brittany Forrest, New Jersey. Elise Brower, Nebraska. Chanakan Kejonsachi, Thailand. Tanya Ford, Barbados. Marissa Connell, Florida. Ada Lee, California. Jacqueline Garcia, Florida. Rachel Painter, Utah. Benjamin Miles, Florida. California. Brian Hatton, Pennsylvania. Crystal Savarino, California. Freshna Devari, Texas. Peggy Chan, Montreal, Canada. Kayla Rogers, Bermuda. Michael Gonzalez, New Jersey.
I now invite to the stage Dr. David Morancic, the Associate Professor in Pathobiology Department, to lead the students in reciting aloud the professional commitment listed near the back of your program.
Welcome, class of 2021 again. Would you all please stand? And as this commitment extends well past graduation, would all the veterinarians and other current veterinary students also please stand? So now that you have your sharp white coats on, you're going to speak loud and confidently, right? And read along with me. Being accepted into the profession of veterinary medicine I solemnly swear to further my knowledge and skills for the benefit of society through the protection of animal health, the relief of animal suffering, the conservation of animal resources, the promotion of public health, and advancement of medical knowledge. I will conduct my studies conscientiously, with dignity, in keeping with the principles of veterinary medical ethics. I accept my responsibility to assist my colleagues to achieve our mutual goal. I acknowledge my obligation to adhere to the university's honor code and to conduct myself with integrity in an ethical manner at all times. It is a privilege to have been given the opportunity to become a veterinarian. I will be ever conscious of that privilege and never abuse it. Please be seated. And just like that, you've all passed your first test.
Thank you, Dr. Marancic. As stated earlier, the incoming class had just completed a professional attributes workshop referred to as PAWS. PAWS focuses on the development of those life skills which you need to besides your technical veterinary skills, skills relating to communication, teamwork, and professionalism. These are skills and attitudes which makes you more of a complete rounded person, a person that is not only an excellent veterinarian, but a successful veterinarian. And to be a successful veterinarian, you need to have excellent people skills, you need to be a responsible member of a team, and you also need to be a servant leader, a leader who supports, cares, and guides the team you will work with as well as your clients. Without such competencies, especially our ability to relate to and communicate with our clients, we will fail to fulfill our veterinary obligation, which is to be a spokesperson for those who cannot speak for themselves, our animal patients, and to use our skills for the benefit of society. The PAWS student facilitators will now share some of this experience with you through a special presentation. Thank you. Oh, there's you. Thank you. Just a side note, I just want you to know the people in my pods group were my best friends in vet school. It might not seem like it right now, but those are going to be the people you can rely to fall back on forever. Dr. Solis can attest to that. On behalf of SGU, I would like to thank the students, the families, and the faculty, staff administrators for your support and presence at this ceremony. You are all invited to join us at a reception at the Lewis and Marion Modica Hall. I ask that you please remain seated and keep the aisles clear until directed by the ushers to exit. Thank you again for coming, and congratulations.